One day after Diwali, the NSE had tanked, the BSE had dropped. And on what basis? The basis was that the election outcome of US elections was unpredictable and its effects on FedEx interest rates were not known. As the election was announced, we all came to know that Trump has been chosen as the 47th president of United States. The markets rallied up and now we are seeing a boom in the market. So how does American election uh, outcome have such an effect on the world? It has more to do with the economic might of the USA and the military might of the USA. Hello, friends. My name is Amit Mahajan. Namaskar. Vanakkam to all of you. I'll welcome you all to my YouTube channel, Layman History and Geopolitics. So, friends, today we are going to talk about this aspect, the economic aspect, and in this aspect of the US might, which is the might of the dollar. We are going to discuss why is dollar so important in the world. My presentation today is based on report by the Hutchison Center Explains. This report has been authored by Sam Booker and David Wessel, and specific inputs I have also taken from our own Dr. Muqtadar Khan, who is a professor in University of Delaware. He teaches political science and international relations. So, friends, when they talk about the importance of US dollar, what I have inferred, what I've come to know is that 64% of the world's borrowings, which the countries or corporations take, is in the form of dollars because they don't want to get engulfed in any sort of problems. If you take borrowings in the form of dollars, the creditors get insured. They are assured that their money will get come back because dollar is a strong currency. Secondly, friends, we all have a habit of savings. When you would have some extra money, what do? You buy some land parcels or you invest in jewelry or whatever you feel like, you invest in that mode, which makes you feel safe. How do the countries save? Countries save by keeping reserves of foreign currencies. And the preferable currency mode in which the countries save world over is the dollar. In 1945, during the Bretton Woods Conference, when IMF was formed, during that time it was decided that the dollar would be used as a world currency. And this hegemony of dollar has continued from there itself and it continues today also. So, as I've said, countries save in dollars. Most of the countries save in dollars. They save in other currencies too. Some save in Chinese renminbi, some save in yen, some save in yuan, some save in euro. But the most preferred mode of saving for a country is in US dollars. In 2001, something around 70% of the reserves of the currency, the dollar accounted for something around 71% of the reserves which countries kept. Today, its share has reduced to something around 59%, which again is a very big amount. 59% of the reserves which countries keep with themselves in foreign exchange are the dollars. China has something around $3.2 trillion dollars in their reserves. Japan has something around $1.2 trillion dollars in their reserves. And the third country which has the largest dollar reserves is India. India has something around 740, $750 billion dollars in their reserves. And these dollars are used to trade. They are used to export, they are used to import, and a dollar provides you a cushion against the disturbances which are going on around in the world. As we all know, war is going through in Europe between Russia and Ukraine, and Middle East is engulfed in a war. So when you have such huge foreign reserves in dollars, you have a cushion because dollar is accepted as a currency worldwide anywhere. If you go to any part in the world, you have a dollar in your pocket, you pay through a dollar, chances are that it will be accepted. People will readily take that dollar. So these were the 2 points. First point was the countries borrow in dollars. It accounts for something around 64% of the borrowings which countries take. Secondly, I talked about the foreign reserves which the countries keep. And the third thing which I'll talk about is the share of foreign exchange transactions. So when you trade around in the world, what is the preferable mode of currency? When we talk about the Americas, in Americas, 96% in between North America or South America, Latin America, whatever, Central America, whatever you may call it, 96% of the trade is done in dollars. When we come to Europe, as Europe has a currency by the name of euro, and it is a very strong currency, intra trade between European countries, since they have one single currency, is done in euro. So the trade in Europe, dollar transactions account for something around 54% of the trade. And in Asia, they account for something around 70% of the trade. Overall, if you see the pattern, 88% of the world trade is carried in dollars, is being carried in the dollars. Now, what happens is when you trade in the dollars, you have to go through American banks. And when you go through American banks, you trade through dollars. That's the leverage which the American entities have, American government has. If you trade in dollars and you have naturally you have to go through your American banks. US has a critical point here. US can sanction you. US can sanction your entities, and you would not be able to trade in dollars. You would not be able to trade in the world, and that's what has exactly happened with 19 Indian companies, which have been blacklisted by USA on the charges that they are providing critical equipment to Russia to fight in its war against Ukraine. So this is what happens. Now the next thing which I'll talk about is America's currency is dollar. When America's currency is dollar, America can very easily borrow from the market because it repays back in dollars. And when it repays back in dollars, it has a good significant value. Countries buy US Treasury bonds. World countries buy US Treasury bonds, and by the way, China is the biggest. China and Japan are the biggest buyers of US Treasury bonds. China has something around $878 billion of US Treasury bonds with it. And these Treasury bonds are issued by the US government, and these are bought by foreign governments. It's basically telling your worth to the world and world buying it in simple terms. Fourth thing is a strong when we talk about a dollar, we see dollar's value. When I was very young, dollars would be something around 35 rupees. Today we see that dollars is 84 rupees. So I don't can't literally make out whether we have progressed or we have gone down, because the value of dollar has risen. Earlier it used to be 35 when I used to be quite young. Today it is 84. So the thing is, when dollar is strong, the value of dollar is high. During that part of the time, exports become tough for the USA, because people won't be buy items from USA at such a huge cost. But the imports US becomes a more lucrative market, because when you see that we are going to export to USA and we are going to get a higher amount in our local money terms, the trade becomes lucrative, the import to USA becomes lucrative. But on the other part, what happens is, uh, as far as India is concerned, our people go to USA for studies. Their tuition fees become very costly. Recently, I was studying about the case of a student from Andhra Pradesh whose tuition fees something around, I think, $5,000 to $6,000 were credited to a wrong account in USA, and he is running pillar to post because his tuition fees have not been paid to his university where it ought to be paid. So it is like it becomes a huge burden. When a dollar is strong, it becomes a huge burden on the people how to pay the tuition fees. But on the other hand, it is quite good for the American people because inflation is less. They can buy, they can import more. But it has a troubling effect, and that's the very reason American economy is an import driven economy. Americans, what they export basically the arms, and when they export the arms, the scale is so high that a difference of such an amount doesn't make a difference, because these are government to government transactions. Now, this was about the dollar, the heft of the dollar. Now, what we will talk about is what are the challenges to the dollar. The dollar, the challenges to the dollar come from the new parties, the new grippings which are coming up. We are talking in the last Brics summit at Kazan. We've started talking about the Brics currency, and if such forums start making their own currencies, it would be a great challenge to the dollar. Secondly, when countries start trading in other currencies, it's also a challenge to the domination of dollar. As we see, India has bought oil worth $60 billion from Russia since the start of the war, Russia-Ukraine war. And in what terms has India paid Russia? It has paid Russia in UAE dirhams and Chinese renminbi. And which currency is losing out here? The currency which is losing out here is the dollar, because USA has already froze $300 billion of Russia, which were kept in the Western banks. And basically, Russia is out of the US system, out of the SWIFT system. They can't trade in dollars, and that's the very reason India is repaying them in uh, renminbis and UAE dirhams. But again, it's a challenge. $60 billion are not going in US currency, they are not going in dollars, they are going in local currencies. Third thing is that, see, in USA, there earlier on, there used to be a great indiscipline in currency management. There used to be differences between the branches of government. The government and the Congress used to be at log jams. We've seen various times that the Congress shut down the government. It is not going to happen now, mostly because since the Republicans have come to power, they'll be in power in government. They'll control the Senate. They'll control House of Representatives. So this thing will be managed. But on the long run, if such things occur, they don't leave a good impression on the market. Next challenge is the new currencies which are coming up, new modes of currencies such as cryptocurrencies or other modes. What they do is they make trading in other currencies easy. And when they make trading in other currencies easy, it becomes a challenge, sorry, to the hegemony of the dollar. China is the second largest economy, and they have made their own systems. They have built CIPS in 2015, which is cross-border interbank payment system. It bypasses the messaging system of the USS. It passes the SWIFT system, and it bypasses the dollar. So Chinese are making these systems, and they are virtually bypassing the dominance of the dollar. So if dollar has to continue as the primary currency of the world, US government has to take such decisions, strict decisions, basically friendly relations with other countries, that people continue to trade in dollars. Otherwise, a time will surely come when the hegemon of the dollar would be diminished. That was all from me for today. My name is Amit Pahajan. I request all of you to kindly like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel, Layman History and Geopolitics. Thank you. Namaskaram. Vanakkam to all of you.